It's tabletop time!
I'm Murray.
I'm Jen.
I'm Jazza.
And I'm Dave. And today we're super excited to bring you an adventure in the D&D universe.
Hey.
We've got some amazing models by Loot Studios that we've spent the last 2 weeks painting up, as well as terrain, and we're very, very excited to bring this game to you. This is outside our usual setup. It is higher production value. We've put a lot of work into this, and that is only possible thank you to our patrons. So if you'd like to support more stuff like this, see more like this, input to this sort of thing, consider joining our Patreon.
It's a bit, we're a bit kerfuffly. I'm the cameraman. I've got my camera on the side here, so that's how we're showing off the minis. But yeah, this is so fun. This is our first time playing a mini campaign with minis. Mm-hmm. And this is, to be honest, a bit of a dream for what we'd like to be able to do in the future and on a more ongoing basis. It takes a lot though, it really does. So any and all of your support is monumental. I don't think we can say that enough. It makes this possible, and we're overreaching here a little bit, but my God, we want to dive deep. So thank you for everyone's support so far, and if you would like to see more of this and beyond, please consider becoming a patron. Yeah. With that said, I think it's time to jump into an adventure.
That's right, but first, let's have a brief introduction of your characters.
Great. Oh, shall I start?
Yes, go for it.
So I am Rusty, both in name and in nature.
Rusty was once an adventurer, long ago. He has many stories. He's in his 50s. He's a bit begrudging and sees young whippersnappers come through the taverns declaring that they're going to save the local maiden or whatever. It's all just rubbish. They all end up at the same place. We're all destined for the same dirt of the earth. He's a pessimist and a nihilist, but he can see the good in some people, which is how he ended up meeting Hops, a friendly local werebear who's very good at drinking and will listen to his old stories of glory like they were another lifetime.
That's as good a way as any to lean into Hops, who is, in fact, a homebrew species called a bearkin that I've written myself. So you're a bearkin.
That is right. So I'm playing Hops. I'm a bear. I want to start my own brewery. I met my wife a couple of years ago, and we settled down and we had kids, and they've gotten much older now, and I think it's time for me to start an adventure, to really get into the spirit of this great land that we are. But I do have a side hobby, and it's to have my own brewery one day with my good drinking buddy here. Oh, I can't wait to have the gold and just make the best honey mead that anyone's ever tasted before.
Unfortunately, I've told you many stories in the past of the gold that I once had as an adventurer. It's one of the things I miss, but...
It's okay. We'll do it again. We'll get it all ready, and we'll have the best time of our lives.
And to help them along this quest, they've recently encountered another person. Who might that be?
I am Murina, the swamp witch from yonder. I was happily living my life alone, with only some occasional visitors to feast upon, when a curse I bestowed upon a coward backfired, very unfortunately, and now I am under the influence of my own spell and must, regrettably, seek the hero's journey and become a savior?
Is True Love's first kiss part of that?
Please, I would love that so much.
Some of my friends are into that, but I despise even the concept of that.
Oh my gosh, I love it.
I must become a true hero in the eyes of the people, as the person I was cursing was a true coward, and he couldn't possibly have managed this.
I love the disdain that you're saying this quest you have to go on. It's so great.
Yeah, so it's safe to say we're not the conventional D&D party, but I love us as a group so much.
Usually I would not have taken up any sort of company, but upon them seeking my aid, they mistook me for a brewer of alcohol rather than, potions of infinite wisdom or intellect or power. but they're a bit more tolerable than the usual sort, the wide-eyed youths running off with swords and magic. So, in order to help myself, I will help them.
I love the idea that Hops can complain enough about children that there's a little bit of relatability between the witch. It's like, yes!
Absolutely.
I also love that our witch Murena
Yes.
really
Go on.
disdains the hero's journey. My character disdains adventurers, and your character Hops is probably disdains violence in
Yeah.
ugly ways. Like,
Absolutely.
seems super friendly.
Well, you know, you're a bit naive, I guess, but not necessarily. You're a middle-aged man. You're ready for adventure, but you just want that glory. This is your midlife crisis, yeah?
Yes.
All right.
Shall we?
Well, I will say for those mechanically minded folk that our players are all starting the adventure at level 4, and Jazz's character Rusty is playing as a ranger, the updated Unearthed Arcana ranger, and he is also a monster slayer. You were famed for taking down
I was
the
at
beasts and the
least
bad.
in my glory days.
Jen, who's playing Hops, who is a bearkin, is playing as a fighter and a rune knight. Is that the archetype?
Yes.
So yes, you are a definitely a tanky melee combatant at level 4, and Murray's character Marina is playing as a druid of the land. And are you a human beneath all that witchery?
I was originally a half-elf.
Ah,
More
okay.
adept than others.
Cool.
Interesting.
Okay. Very cool. So we know where we are.
Let's do it.
Well, we know who we are, but where are we? Now it's my turn, right?
I just want to go into that gorgeous tavern.
Time for me to get serious, is it?
Do it, yeah. I think it's story time.
Roll for initiative.
All right. Over the past few weeks, our heroes have sat in the small local tavern that sits inside the forest where Hops resides. They've sat drinking the imported beer, with Hops dreaming of the taste of honey mead that occasionally filters through the town from various traders who travel in, but it is not a frequent event. Talking about the glory days, Hops eventually brought up the courage to ask his wife for permission to go adventuring.
So cute.
And with that permission granted, he donned the armor he'd slowly been purchasing and the weapon he'd slowly been purchasing, sort of like a hobbyist over the past 10 years. Unbattle tested, but with enthusiasm, natural strength and aptitude, and the wisdom and power that comes from parenting 2 teenagers into adulthood. He was ready to adventure. Rusty, while not enthusiastic about the thought of going on another adventure, he saw this more as an opportunity to do 2 things. 1, spend some damn quality good time with his good friend Hops, away from, the wife and kids who always call him away from drinking nights. It was their fishing trip of sorts that they could enjoy together. But he also
Sounds like
knew...
the beginning of Hangover. You know the Hangover?
But he also knew that at the end of this journey lay kind of a blissful retirement. The idea of running this brewery and helping out and being in that small town, but with money and drink, just seemed pretty nice. So he was willing to set out with his friend and begrudgingly offer whatever advice he could. On their journey in the first few weeks, they heard many rumors. But the greatest rumor of this was of a legendary brewer living on the edge of the forest. This brewer was reported to be able to instill any taste, any flavor, any scent, any magic into a drink. And they knew that if they could just convince this eccentric woman onto their side, they would have the recipe for the perfect mead that would make them a sensation and their brewery and tavern the talk of the land. However, with Brewer in tow, they lacked one thing. 2 things, in fact. The gold required to start this brewery, but second, the finest ingredients and the finest recipes So it is not only for coin that you adventure, but it is also to find and sample the meads of all the different lands and find the different ingredients, which honey from which hives, work out the perfect recipe so that your mead can become world renowned. But where we pick up today, with Marina in tow, convinced somehow to join them, mostly by the impulses of her curse, the group head towards Slyport. A sprawling urban expanse built upon the ruins of cities and towns time and time again. A cycle of destruction and rebirth that has gone on for so long that there are no accounts that have every civilization recorded. This city of Slyport exists at the corner point or the junction of three great nations. And as such, it has often been the target for sackings and raids by bandits, by kingdoms. It is also not under the jurisdiction of any of those three kingdoms and thus not protected by any of their armies. And it is only by a local militia and prosperous adventurers that they survive the threats of monsters, bandits, and raiders. However, through all this hardship, Slyport is in fact an incredibly prosperous place. This position in no man's land at the junction of three kingdoms makes it one of the richest cities of potential in the entire world. There is so much trade, so much adventure, and so much excitement bustling through this wild town that it is simply the only destination that these three could go if they wanted to find their glory, and quickly. And with ease.
How far would you say we will have travelled to get here?
Weeks.
Okay.
Probably 3 weeks of journeying. It's in that time you've bonded. You've learnt how each other fights as you've occasionally run across some banditry, an ogre, in fact, that you bested as a group. And you have come to town with a level of respect for each other's capabilities. Where we pick up the story is our players walking through the large park and entering the southern district of Slyport, known as Stone Wharf. It is a busy and bustling district and home to the world-famous Silent Coin Tavern. This tavern is a famous adventurer's drinking hole. It is the place where the wildest folk journey, where people go to seek adventurers to help them with their tasks, or where adventurers go to wait for the call of glory. So we can begin our quest. As the sun begins to fall after a long day's journey, as you've entered the city walls, walking through this park, and you see the large wood and stone frame tavern built upon itself 3 times over with renovations of various owners. You see that sign, the coin, and the door.
Well, there she stands, the silent coin.
Oh, I don't know about you two, but I could sure go for some honey mead.
Ugh.
I'll take mead, but the adventure's the thing I'm nervous about. I haven't done this in a while.
I'm tired of all this walking. Can we enter already? It stinks of community. I'd rather get this over with quickly.
The stink of community is notably fragrant as you walk across the cobbled stones, avoiding the large gutter-filled piles of human waste that sit in the gutters of this medieval town. Don't worry, there's horse and livestock manure there as well, but plumbing is not something that seems to be in good supply here. Across the road from the tavern, you do spot on the corner a boarded up establishment, the windows barred and the door locked, and an old sign hanging loosely with any record of what it once had faded in aged paint. There is a soft bustle in the tavern. It is about 6 o'clock, and it seems like the early arrivals for the evening are starting to come in, but it has not yet become busy.
Well, now's as good a time as any.
And I open the door.
Must we? The other place across the road looks much more pleasant. Do we have to go in here?
Do you want to do the minis for me?
Why don't you go in first, Muraine? I think you're bound to make a great first impression.
Yes. Beauty before youth, I'd say.
And Marina pushes the door open. It winds on its hinges. The kind of door that has seen only love and been opened many, many times but never oiled. The only thing that keeps the rust from locking the hinges in place is the fact that it swings so frequently.
Yes, I slow down the speed at which I open the doors just so I maintain that lovely squeak, just to put everyone on edge, anyone who doesn't enjoy that sort of thing. I hear that can quite aggravate some people. And sort of with one finger.
Several heads in the tavern turn to the door, wondering, of course, why the door was opened so slowly and painfully, but they pay you not much heed. Inside the tavern, you see the front room. You actually know the tavern from the outside to have several rooms. It's much akin to a modern pub where they'll have a bistro, a larger sort of different areas of different bars. But at this time of night, the front bar is what is currently open. There is a large carvery of pork on the table being prepared for those who are purchasing a meal. There is a cook standing in the corner by the fireplace, struggling with something that seems to be, well, a little bit too mobile inside the cooking pot. Can I get you all to make a perception check? The first roll of the night.
Ooh.
I got an 11.
I got a 17.
I got a 12.
Okay.
Excuse me.
So, you got a 17.
Yes.
And you may also roll with advantage due to your species.
13, so 17.
17.
Yep.
And why might that be?
Oh, because I have a keen sense of smell?
So this particular perception check had an element of scent in it.
So I get advantage checks on.
Advantage, you have keen sense of smell.
Yeah.
So, Hop's nose flares. So, Marina and Rusty both notice that there are several people in the tavern. There is, of note, a shady figure sitting in the shadows cast around the corner of the fireplace, smoking a pipe. There is a large half-orc woman grinding an axe, standing and looking almost aggressively, hungrily at the pig on the table, waiting for it to be ready to be served. There is a man drinking heavily but with a smile on his face. There is also a bard who appears to be setting the strings of her lute in order, a chef in the far corner, and a bartender waiting behind the bar. Hops, you smell that there is some kind of seafood chowder being cooked. Those aromas mixed with the smell of a freshly glazed, honey-glazed pork on the table.
Oh, okay.
Smell is delightful, and it seems like the dwarven chef is of extremely good talent and skill. What is of note with the dwarven chef is that he is holding a live chicken under his arm.
Yes.
Or turkey.
Pleased with my results and the sort of reactions I garnered, I'm going to slink away to the least populated corner of the room and an available table, I think.
Cool.
No, any food is, the others in my party will deal with that mundanity.
Is that actually he picks the corner?
So the corner over there that it has no tiles in it is in fact a stairwell that heads down and up. So we won't include that. But there is a table.
I'm slightly irritated that, the man has the best
He definitely has the
corner
best
in the
corner.
room for darkness, but I will just take the least populated area
Perhaps
of the
in
room.
here. I can't see there. So
Yeah.
Yes,
There's a candlestick.
that will
Oh,
work
it's a
nicely.
candlestick. I have a long David hair hanging off my arm. All right, so you take a seat. You wander over and take a seat. No one seems to pay you too much heed at this stage. However, Rusty does notice the bard sort of cocks an eyebrow at him as he comes in.
No. I've been recognized already.
I say to the side of my mouth to Hops.
This is your adventure after all, so perhaps you should step forward and speak to him. I believe.
Oh, sorry, bard.
Female.
Lady. Speak to her. And
There's
you
also-
are closest to her.
But there's pretty much everyone. These minis are all completely accurate to who's in there right now. Oh, I should have also noticed or mentioned the large dog sleeping by the by the cooking pot.
The most important individual here,
bulldog.
really.
Okay. Hops will go talk to the bard before she starts performing.
Okay, she's tuning her lute. You walk up to her. She looks at you up and down.
I should mention that Hops is also like a medium-sized creature as well, so he's a little bit intimidating.
Well, you're all medium creatures, but
Yeah.
he's definitely on the large side.
Yes. So I will approach her.
He has a
hello.
build akin to a Goliath. He's quite a bit broader.
Yeah. Imagine would have had to squint to get into the door.
Yeah, you
of
definitely
this.
stood to get in the tavern door. Your shoulders almost as broad as the walls.
Yeah.
Avoid some chandeliers.
Yep, that's it. Hello.
A bearkin. We don't see your kind very often.
Oh, and when there's honeymead around, I'll be covered right through the door. What is your name?
I'm Violet Cherrier. And yours?
Hops. My name is Hops.
Pleasure. What brings you to the Silent Coin?
Well, like most adventurers in this great world, we are here to find gold and a lot of it. I intend to make my own brewery one day.
She passes her hand through her hair on the right side, and you catch that her right ear is just full of piercings that glint from the firelight. And she strokes her chin thoughtfully and then moves back to tuning and says, interesting. And how could coming to a tavern and she leans forward almost expectantly and hiring the services of a minstrel, how does that help you achieve your goals?
Hops kind of like looks around for a bit and just sort of doesn't quite catch what she's saying, but I know what she's trying to say.
Her foot softly and not too subtly kicks a little bag that's at the floor at the feet of her stool.
Let's see what you can do.
I sort of walk up behind through this exchange and I say, you do realize that giving your money away doesn't help you save up for this tavern you want to build. Beginning your adventure by giving away the gold you have is, I would say, a false start.
But she could be pretty good. She could.
Everyone thinks they're pretty good.
Tell you what. And she looks with an almost pointed glare at Rusty. The first one's free. Everyone, I'm warming up. There's one person's like, She plucks a few things on her.
I sort of like lean back. Oh no.
And she begins to sing, playing a little tune on her lute and staring directly at Rusty. Have you heard the tale of the Scarlet Bow? Travelled the land, his companions in tow. He struck down the giant with nary a look, and to his bedchambers our mothers he took. Yet here we find this once glorious swine, the bastard that fathered two brothers of mine. Come see him now, the Scarlet Bow. Come relish in failure, old glory laid low. And then she finishes off with a little flourish.
Do I notice anyone in the tavern reacting to this
Yeah,
song?
they're laughing at it and they're pointing.
I like self-consciously pull my hood slightly further in front of my old scarlet armor. That's the only armor I had to take on Hops's adventure, but it was once the famous Crimson Crusaders armor.
I'll go back over to her. I'll flick her a gold coin and kind of
gold coin?
Yeah, and I'll lean a bit closer and say, very nice playing, but could we play something a bit more lively?
Yes, that was a terrible song. It doesn't even depict that. It was much cooler than that.
Well, I did get the bit about you slaying the giant.
And I did sleep with a lot of people.
Yes. My mother would like a word with you.
She's here? Wait, you're...
And I sort of need to figure out, what do I know about this person?
Nothing.
Nothing?
Nothing.
Okay. I've been to Slyport many, many times. I have no interest in you or your mother.
Pops is really awkwardly going to walk away from this conversation and go get a beer.
Okay.
And I join.
And she begins to, she like glares at, at Rusty and continues. And she just starts playing some music in the tavern.
Cool.
And you head on up to the bar.
Yeah. I'll talk to the barkeep. I say, three
We're
of your
getting to the
best. Huh?
We're getting to the
Oh,
barkeep.
sorry.
All right.
3 of your best honey meads, please.
All right.
Shimmy has it.
He is a fairly large man. He's got tanned, quite dark skin, the complexion of someone who's come from somewhere quite Mediterranean and also been at sea, you'd imagine, for a lot of his life. He's got that really, really darkly tanned skin from someone who just worked outside all his life. He has a thick moustache, muscles bulging under a layer of fat as he sort of cleans his mug. Well, of course, the best honey mead I've got. Right. You think I'd serve you the worst honey mead? And he sort of grumpily goes over to a keg, starts filling up a couple, comes over.
Kind of like sizes himself up a little bit because intimidates him just a little bit.
Would you like to intimidate him?
Yeah, we'll see
Make
what he
an
says.
intimidation check.
Okay, all right. That was a 4. Plus, where is it? Intimidation. Plus 4, so 8.
You like bustle yourself up, get really big, and manage to just kind of look uncomfortable in your overly clean armor that hasn't seen enough battle. And the tavern keeper has seen all sorts. But at the indication of you getting bigger, he goes, "Oh, right, yeah." And then he puts the pint down and grabs like a 1 liter stein and fills that one for you, and then pushes the 2 pints and a stein across at you, and is just like, "You are a bit bigger. All right, that'll be 3 silver."
I'll pay him.
Yeah.
I sort of
Finest mead.
jostle in and grab mine, and I grab one of the drinks for Murina.
So what are you lot meant to be, adventurers or something?
How do you answer that?
Yes.
Some of us want to be, some of us would rather be elsewhere, but we're friends, and that's what matters.
Right. There's just usually 4 of you, that's all.
But adventurers, yes.
They seem to come in 4s.
They tend to...
Sometimes the really popular ones always have 6.
Well, sometimes going against the grain will end up with extraordinary results.
I don't see a cleric among you. Good
Yes.
luck, adventurers.
Less adventurers is more gold between us.
I want to talk to him and say, I noticed the building across the road. Do you know anything about that? Seems kind of abandoned.
I feel like that's more town planning business than adventuring business, but yes, it was a poorhouse till it was run out by the guard.
A poorhouse.
Abandoned shop. Bunch of people moved in there and made a bit of a life of themselves. I'd occasionally every night, I'd take the food that didn't get eaten and hand it over to them, and I didn't think they were doing much harm to anyone.
And what changed?
Well, the guard found out about it. Apparently it doesn't matter, the building's derelict. They weren't allowed to live there, so they were run out.
Okay. I'm going to take my honey mead and go sit at the table.
As they come over, I'm sort of going to elegantly and mockingly applaud good old Rusty. Say,
Rusty, my boy, I learn more about you every day.
Don't pay attention to the stories. They're different from whoever you hear them from, I say as I hand over a mug to Murina. Anyway, if you want to hear the real stories, I'm the one who has to tell them. Isn't that right, Hobbs?
Yes.
And
yes.
grand they were. I wasn't like the adventurers these days, leaping in, "Oh, I will save your town," and doing nothing of the sort and getting all sorts of attention and gold for it. I was a true hero. I used to slay like it was an easy morning activity.
Yes, I'm sure. And I sort of elegantly and poignantly sort of like place a silver in exchange for the mug, as if I've done something particularly, selfless.
To actually pay for it.
Yeah.
I love that.
Hops takes the silver.
All right, so do you all just take a seat and start
Yeah.
drinking?
Yeah.
I-
I feel like we've joined this person at the table. So why not? Who's this?
This guy, you all sit down.
Yeah.
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
What's your name?
I mean, I was saving this table, but then this strange woman sat down and, well, right, she wouldn't much hear anything of anything I had to say.
Yes, thank you for saving it.
But I'm waiting for... My wife's coming in and... I mean...
It's all right, we won't be here long. We have
We'd love
places
to
to
join
be.
you for dinner.
Oh, come on, would we now?
Make a persuasion check. Or an intimidation. Actually, just make an intimidation regardless of what you want to do.
Okay. That was a 12 plus 4, so
16?
16.
Okay, and he just leans into his chair when this big bear thing sits down and says, we'd love to eat dinner with you. And he's like, dinner with you sounds lovely. Yes, then he just looks into his cup and starts drinking.
Sort of drinking, only my long, disgusting nose sticking over the top, sort of smirk at how uncomfortable this poor soul is.
Now, I don't want to... I turn to Hobbs. I don't want to have to waste too much time on this adventure nonsense if it's not necessary, so the key is to find critical information sooner and to act upon it. What do we have so far?
Yes, he spent positively ages with that man. Have we found anything yet, surely?
There were clues in there. There was a quest. Did you catch it?
Oh, well, there's a building, the one across the road.
Oh, yes.
The one that I pointed out, perchance?
Yes, that one, yeah. Good, very good perception. It's abandoned. We should go check it out. But there's I can't help but notice this guy that I point to this particular character, the shady guy in the corner. So maybe he knows a thing or two.
That is a very good eye there, Hops. You do have a knack for this. Yes, the shady adventurer in the corner, a classic trope. He would be worth talking to. I might do that myself, just to get things moving along. In the meantime, garner what you can from this gentleman here who's waiting for his family, because he would surely know the locale. And the more information we have, the quicker we can drink and get this adventure done and dusted.
You're talking about me like I'm not here, but anyway.
You might as well not be. I sort of say it.
Silence,
You
peasants.
wander up there. All right,
Adults are talking.
We'll stick with this table while we're here, and then we'll go to you going over to the wandering strangers. So you're sitting with this man who looks slightly uncomfortable. He's wearing a commoner's clothes, but has a lavish scarf wrapped around his neck of an opulent blue. He has long blonde hair coming down to his shoulders, and he's quite handsome for just a common. He looks like a stable hand or something like that. But you'd guess he's about 20.
It's a very nice scarf thing you have on your neck. I'm a bear. I don't wear those things. What is it?
Oh yes, I guess you could call me a bit of a connoisseur of scarves. Is that the word? Connoisseur?
Scarves?
Yes, it's my hobby. I collect them.
Wow. Cool hobby.
Thank you.
Great.
It's so passive
I had a
aggressive.
drink with me.
Cool hobby, bro.
Positively enthralling, my dear child.
Look,
You must be so proud.
you've got to have something that sets you out and makes you interesting. And
Yeah.
I thought collecting scarves was something. I like the threads. Very.
I mean, I murder monsters, so like, and make honey mead. I'm very good at it, actually.
Oh, really? Lovely. My wife likes honey mead.
Oh, does she?
Yes.
Oh, good taste.
Yes, I have excellent taste in my honey bun.
I mean,
This is slightly choking.
Pops kind of feels a bit sad because he thinks about
Glad
his
I'm on the
wife.
other side of the room. Ew.
Yes, we've just gotten married recently.
Oh,
And
that's wonderful. Congratulations.
Thank you. Are you perhaps married?
Yes, I am indeed. To dear Dandelion, my heart, my soul,
Oh.
my bare necessities.
I'm trapped in a corner of my own devising.
I should have been the one to talk to the man.
He says, I'm Tobin Fisher.
Hops.
Hops. And he reaches across and shakes his tiny hand engulfed by your large anthro-bear hand and makes some small talk with you, unless you have any particular questions to ask him.
I just want to get to know the town and ask him again about this building that's over here and just how to make good money.
He, over the course of a bit of conversation, fills you in on... he doesn't tell you anything more interesting than you know, just in general about the town. And then when he gets to making money, he says, mate, well, you, by the look of you, you look like rugged adventurer types, so...
Oh.
I guess that you make money, well, ruggedly adventuring, right? What does your wife think about that? My wife doesn't even like it when I go out looking for scarves at night. She says it's unsafe on the streets.
You look for scarves at night?
Well, I work during the day, and sometimes they have sales on.
Wow. I've lived a long, happy life with my wife. She gave me one last little go before retirement.
Oh, I don't need to hear about that part of your life. The intimates should be kept in the household. Hey, you said she gave you one last go before you went.
Hop's gonna look like, what?
Never mind, he flushes red immediately, assuming the wrong thing. Obviously, his fresh nuptials in his mind.
You make a good point, yes.
He may look for scarves at night, but he seems to be a bit quicker than you, my dear Hops.
So we'll approach the man in the corner.
Okay.
Find my man in the corner notes.
You find your man in the corner notes, I'll get my focus and camera shot, and then we leap into it.
Come on, Jazz, get focused.
Do I not have man in the corner notes?
Make it up. Ready, go.
Hold on, I just want to double check.
Oh, it means
Man in the corner.
That's what she starts playing.
It was written backwards, that's why. I had their name and then in brackets what model they were, but for him, for some reason, it was the other way around. So, you approach.
You, silent stranger. I know you harbor dark secrets or a quest or adventure of some sort, and that's what we're here for. I can buy you a drink, or make some sort of a bargain or agreement. That's how it works, if I remember correctly. Which of them? Ah, yes, the strong, silent type. Lean into the mystery. We'll get there in the end, don't worry.
How do I know you can fight? That armor looks like it was stolen from a cosplayer.
Well then, let's do a classic game, shall we? A wager. You flick a coin across the room, and I shall with my arrow pierce it through its very center in the middle of the air. Then you shall know that at any point I will always strike true, for I was the Crimson Crusader.
All right. I don't much mind that.
And he pulls out a piece of copper, he lifts it in the air, and he will flick it across the room. He's straight to the point on that.
Okay. I want to use an ability if I can. Can I use my true shot spell thing? Is that a thing that I can?
Your
have
true shot
Is that
spell
what's
thing.
it? Is it? Yeah. Where's my spells? Where'd
On the
they
third
go?
page.
On the what?
Third page is your
On the
spells.
All right. Cool. Let's do this.
Oh my gosh, are you going to use a spell?
Yeah. I'm getting the party started.
You
in
have
style.
You don't have true shot. What are you talking about?
What is my bloody hunter's mark? Is that a?
That does extra damage. Doesn't help you hit.
All right. I'm gonna try and hit it then. That's just. I'm just gonna go for it. This is my first time playing D&D, probably, by the way.
Yeah, well, this is your first time with spells ever.
Yeah. That's true. It's just a.
Make an attack roll.
Okay, so that's D20. And then that's adding plus 8. 17!
So 25.
Nice.
Wow, this would have been so funny if it went wrong, but
With
well done.
with the tense sound of a string being rapidly drawn back, and before anyone can even believe it, you have an arrow out of your quiver, knocked, drawn, fired. It sails through the air, and exactly as Rusty described, pierces the coin in its center, and then an arrow sticks from the wall on the far side of the room with a copper coin impaled on it.
Hops shouts, "Nice shot!" to Tavern.
Oi! No weapons in the bar!
All right, oh, sorry, just starting a quest. You know how it is.
Turn back to the silent stranger.
Well, there you have it. A true shot. A true adventurer.
He says with a slight eye roll. Not so rusty after all, he says under his breath about himself.
Very impressive. You have my attention. Now, what would you like to do with it?
Gold. I would like gold. And we're also looking for some specific ingredients. My brewer friend in the corner there can tell you what we're after specifically. But you look like someone who knows things. So if you could kindly guide us to either of those, I would be very grateful indeed.
What did you say your name was?
I sort of like look around and make sure no one's like listening in.
The Crimson Crusader.
Right. Come hit the head with me.
And he stands up out of the chair and starts to walk around the corner.
All right, where are we going? Outside of the
You
room?
following him?
Yeah.
Yep. So you wander outside of the room and he leads you to what passes for the toilet. There's sort of an area, a courtyard you'd call it, where there's an outside space, an alleyway, but it's all deliberately been fenced off and stuff so that there's like buckets and little stalls and things, but it's specifically outside the building. And he leads you into there and then sort of sidles into a stall. He looks around and makes sure no one's there, sidles in and starts peeing in an adjacent stall to you.
I've been taken for a fool, I swear.
What? Do you like having business discussions in the center of a jostling tavern? Come, let the sound of your piss disguise our discussion.
Oh, yes. So that's how they do it these days.
And then he starts pissing and having like that urinal conversation with the guy, the forbidden urinal conversation.
I join him in the forbidden urinal.
So, I'm Fendrel.
And he's pulled down his hood and you see that he has long black hair, a scar on his cheek, and sharp pointed elven ears. And he sort of does the glance at you, but then goes back to his business and...
All right. So you want to make coin in this city?
Certainly do.
Just so happens I want this to be my city.
Sure.
And he's already marking his territory.
Does it get us coin?
It could. I run with a pretty impressive gang of people. Night runners.
Sure. Yes, I'm sure it's very impressive. Is the coin impressive is my main concern.
It is, if you're willing to get your hands dirty.
That's of no concern to me.
And your friends? They
I'll
willing
show
to
them the ropes.
bathe in the blood of innocence?
Well, if one of us bathes in the blood, the others could watch. It'll be fine.
All right. Well, if you're interested in joining the underworld of the city, I'll be back here later on this evening. Close to closing. Well, close to when people start getting thrown out. We'll discuss more there.
And I'll try to prevent us getting thrown out until then.
Cool. And he heads back, pretending he had just incidentally gone to the toilet, and you'd also incidentally gone to the toilet, and you hadn't had a secret meeting.
Okay. And I then return to the table with my friends.
Across the room, you hear a sharp squeaking noise and the smack of a rolling pin against the floor. And a damn little bastard! And then the sound of scampering across the ground. Why'd you ever wake up, you lazy shite? And then he kicks the dog's, like, not the dog, but the dog's, like, bed. He kicks the side of the dog's bed, which is seems to be a large jawbone. And the dog just looks up and goes... and, like, drool goes down its face. It's got a big bone in front of it that it's been chomping. And then the chef goes back to cooking.
Well, I think we should probably limit how many quests we're picking up, but we have a few options here, and I suspect there's one with the cook over there in the corner. Probably to do with rats or sewers. That was a common one. Well?
Well, we've been having the most lovely, intimate conversations here. I hope you didn't have the same with the man in the back room as well.
Well, you chose to stay with the newlyweds.
Rusty, did you know he collects scarves? And I point to
Yes, it is the
Very
most,
pretty.
most incredible endeavor.
Astounding.
I drink the last gulp of my ale and head to the bar for another.
Darling, I'm here!
Oh, no.
I say, I'm out, and I go to the bar as well.
And the young couple embrace and kiss openly in public.
Hops is just like staring.
Like, what
at them.
level kissing we talking?
Like Victorian era, sweet overcome with romance, but not actually, not doing anything. Like pecking on the lips is the most risque thing they've ever done. Sort of.
Okay.
Somehow the worst.
I love how they're both feeding hops.
Oh, no. So
I like my new face.
That's so good. All right.
Well, I'm gonna let them have their intimate moment because it's getting a bit crowded. I'm gonna go check out the chef and I'm gonna go see what he's up to. And
Okay. You wander over to the chef.
I look down at the dog as well.
The dog
Hello.
is snoring and
Did it just
that a fart?
yeah.
It was a dog fart.
Yeah.
Okay. A
It's very stinky.
Smelly dog fart.
You get the scent immediately.
Absolutely.
You can tell that he clearly has a kind of a bit of a diet imbalance.
Roll for Constitution.
You're a
check.
bear. You have an incredibly good sense of smell, and you sense immediately that he has an imbalance in his diet. And you can smell it from his fart.
I tell that to, I point to the chef, say, I think your dog has got some bowel problems. maybe lay off the.
It wouldn't be the first of his problems.
Oh.
He's a lazy shite.
Oh. That's a bit harsh. I mean, he's clearly very tired.
One thing you note as you stand in front of this large dwarven chef is that his hat is the most on fleek extra thing you've ever seen. It's like a chef's hat, but it's like got braided gold beads and stuff
Has
around
he-
it holding it up.
Has he met the guy with the scarves? Is that?
You're not sure if there's a relationship with there.
Okay. Hello. What's your name, good sir? Chef, sir.
Forge grog. Again, forge grog.
Forge grog. Forge grog?
Aye.
Grog.
I ain't saying it twice.
Good name. You seem to be having some trouble with some mice, perhaps?
He looks angry. Can you make just a charisma persuasion check just to get a general demeanor?
That is an 8 plus 2. Sorry.
Okay, so 10. That's all right. Aye, maybe.
Can I be of assistance, perhaps? No, I can leave. I can go.
An
I can.
adventurer.
Yes. I think I am. Maybe.
I swore to me father I'd never give an adventurer a quest
Oh, then
to
no.
go and kill rats in this fucking basement of a damn tavern. But here I am.
Nailed it.
They're absolutely out of control.
Okay. What seems to be the problem? There's just too many?
Right, and they taste terrible. Ain't good for nothing.
I mean, the dog. Dog's definitely not eating them, so.
There's too many, there's too little. Just need to get it so it's just right.
There needs to be some rights, not completely, like, we've got to put up a aesthetic.
All right, if you go and deal with the rats, I'll pay you.
How much?
Depends what you bag.
Well, I try to feel for a bag.
If they're just normal rats, I'll give you a copper a rat.
Oh.
But if they're more, we'll talk.
Okay. Is there a particular place that they, congregate? Thrive?
Little bastards keep going down the basement where I store all my...
Oh. Mind if I got a look.
Keep your wits about you.
Right.
Cool.
I go back to the group.
Which
Where
group?
you go back to your friends, or you go back to us trying to get drunk?
I'll go to you guys. I
Okay.
forgot everyone. Everyone's now at the bar. Sorry.
Yeah.
My fellow friends, I have a quest.
Stop being so goddamn adorable.
I like brush off my little ears.
So, rats in the basement.
Yes, yes.
All right, we have a few options that we could explore. The dark stranger in the corner. How dark are you willing to go with your quest for coin?
Oh, well, willing to fight monsters and rats and... That's
So you're not
about-
willing to fight for
That's about
monsters
it.
then? Just gathering your boundaries, I think it's important before stepping into something like this.
Hop's kind of like, just like a muscle check. And he's like, I could do 4. 4, yeah, 4, yeah.
Are you willing to tread down dark paths that you will be woken from in your dreams for years to come?
I'm very good at seeing in the dark.
Throats will be cut of the innocent, and the souls
Oh.
of their pleading hearts will haunt your nightmares.
Rusty, I have kids.
In your head, the voice echoes of Dandelion.
Yeah.
Now, don't go getting into too much mischief. Have some fun saving the folk, but remember, you've got to be a good role model to your kids, my love.
There's a small
bubble of memory.
there's a small noise of my tankard being shifted over to slightly where you guys are standing and saying,
This is the first time I've had an interest in what you're saying, Rusty.
do go. The blood of the innocents is a turn of phrase, or are we going more literally?
I believe it's literally innocent blood, yes. I'm
That
just
will
gathering the
hardly help me.
No, yes, your curse and all that. You've done it before. It's hilarious that you can't do it anymore.
I doubt that there's a ledger. I'm sure there's a bit of dabble room.
Well, my point is, my impression is that's the fast track. If you
Hops is
want
just-
higher level connections and a lot of coin, how much was that gentleman offering per rat?
Ooh, copper.
A copper. A copper per rat. How many coppers do you think it would take to start your illustrious tavern? Something you really want to take you through to retirement, build your reputation, a legacy. How many copper do you think that would take?
Do I have a good perception on money? Or-
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot.
A lot.
More copper than you could possibly carry.
A lot.
Barrels of copper.
A butt ton.
I don't think there are that many rats. But that abandoned building across the street, that is what is spiking my interest personally. I think it entails mystery. I think that could lead to large gains. You, bartender, where is an adventurer's help most needed at this time?
Well, there's a dragon.
What?
Dragon, I can do dragon.
Dragon?
Let's do dragon.
What?
There's a dragon. Yeah. You can't do dragon.
I can do dragon.
Look at you.
I've done dragon, sir.
Bullshit.
I am that. I've done dragon.
Right.
Dungeons, in fact. And dragons, plural.
A liar, I see. They need adventurers of more caliber than you to deal with something like that. Maybe you should cut your teeth on something a little bit more simple in town, just to earn a bit of respect as someone who can get a job done. That's usually how it goes.
Yes, I'm sort of going to squeeze my way into this conversation, sort of pulling you aside and also patting you on the shoulder. He's like,
Yes, we get it. Look, my dear fellow, we are looking to both earn coin and enamor ourselves with the people, you know, flowers in the streets, children named after us, that sort of thing. Do you have anything like that? Please say you do.
He just doesn't look like he's that responding to it, but make a perception check. This is just for Marina.
15.
Cool. And now I'm going to get you to preemptively make an Arcana check.
Ooh.
That would be an 18.
Okay. So as you're talking, and he seems to sort of be like, you spot in the corner of the room along the skirting a rat just like scurry across and start nibbling on something in the corner, which wouldn't be too interesting, except like as it turns and looks up, it's moving slightly weirdly, and you see its eyes have a glowing sheen of red across them, which is clearly magical. And then it like darts around, its head twists and its eye like locks onto you, and then it just drops back to the ground and just scurries off.
No, can't say that I do.
I sort of withdraw and turn to Hops and say, do you have an extra rate on nut rats?
He did say to come back and check in if things had changed.
I sort of turn away again, off into my own with the cup, and continue drinking, letting you talk to the normal people.
Well, why don't we just check it out? We're here anyway.
Feeds up! And at this point, you hear, "Ah!" And the female half-orc in the middle of the room picks up her battle axe, spins it once in her hand, and swings it straight down onto the table, severing the pig's head. Completely just cuts the pig's head off. And then with one hand, lifts the pig's head off the table, and then just goes and walks and sits at the table with the pig's head on her plate and just starts biting into like the cheeks and tearing off flesh and looking very enthusiastic. There is now the big platter, the metal platter it was on, now has a distinct like dent in it as it's bent where her axe hit, and the table made some creaking sounds, but no one questions her doing it.
Okay.
It's a regular occurrence.
And a few people go up and start to get the people who'd paid for a meal.
So then, rats or... Wait.
What out of character, what did Murina observe to the bartender again? And
to the
Hops.
bartender?
And Hop, sorry. You saw the rat with red eyes, you turned to Hops.
Got nothing from the bartender.
Yeah.
However, I noticed something with the rats, which I will bring up upon sitting down with you all. You've probably grabbed things from the plates.
You're
Yeah,
gonna
I guess we're
give
going
some
for food.
copper and
Yeah.
just a bit of money, pay for some food, get a meal.
Yeah.
Are you going to sit at the communal table or go over to the table that's empty in the corner?
The communal table will be where we hear the stories, the tasks that need to be done.
All right, mates, I'm here now. Party started! A little halfling comes in the door and he's already carrying a beer from somewhere else, and then he just stumbles in, goes straight over for a plate. There's a few grumbles of annoyance as he does so, but he's clearly a regular, and he immediately is like, another one! And they start pouring another drink, and he grabs a plate and starts getting involved too.
Oh joy, more people. Right. Now, I have seen that these rats may not be quite all that they seem. Now,
Magic rats.
yes.
Well, you
sitting
really
down?
didn't say that.
No, I only just noticed it now. It may be they're simply more than rats, or perhaps there is someone controlling them. Now, I know that you people do not like your hordes of rats. That's why I use them so much back home. Now, I think people would be very happy with us if we rid the town of them. That could be a way into their hearts.
You speak sense, Murina.
And I sort of sit back as if I'd have a brilliant idea.
Rats in the basement or sewers, that's, typically common, but rats controlled or magic, that can lead to other things. There's usually something behind it, and that something is often worth coin. Probably more than a copper at least. So, to whet your appetite, I think this would be where we start, friend. But not before a drink.
Yes.
And I take my third pint and start to...
Okay, cool. So you had 3 pints of beer. Yeah, I get you to make a constitution saving throw.
All right. That's 17 plus 2,
Okay.
19.
You're holding your liquor well.
Yeah.
We're drinking buddies.
I'm just getting a buzz before we go and loosening up. So
It wasn't a hard DC. It was just to see how, you've been in here for like an hour and just smashed 1.5 litres of beer.
Yep.
And old school stuff. So it's not got a standardised amount of alcohol. It's probably twice as alcoholic. The old 8% beers.
Love it.
Cool.
Okay.
All right.
So I think we wait through to the. Was it the chef we need to go back and speak to?
No, we can just go straight downstairs. He's
Okay.
like, go check it out. It's all good.
So you sort of eat through dinner, finish your drink, chill out, don't need to talk.
You don't want to sort of wager a bit more preemptively on the idea that there could be more than rats? You could, say, try and work in a little bonus.
I like that. Amplify the winnings.
Hobbs is not very good at persuading people. He just gets the job done.
Well, how are you going to learn to be an adventurer if you don't try a thing or two outside of your comfort zone? We are here in Slyport after all. You've made all this journey to not do things you feel uncomfortable doing?
Oh, okay.
You're in fact, of everyone at this table, you're the only one I see who actually wants to be an adventurer.
Why don't you go with him and show him the ropes?
Very well.
There, off you go. I'm still sort of nursing the same tank. It's been empty for a while, but I have no interest in getting drunk, as, my brain and my intellect is the only bastion I have against these mundanities and these peasants.
I just rolled a perception check and crit failed.
Nice.
And this is what it was for. The halfling wanders over to your table, wobbling to and fro, and he's like, "Hi, how you doing, lovely lady? Nice to meet you." And then he like sways heavily and starts sipping from his drink.
Cool. Can I have a perception? Just how chubby is this small child?
You make a perception check and see what you can see about him. Obviously, you're going to get his general build.
12.
So he's a sort of, he's a fairly plump-looking halfling. He seems like the kind you would have cooked in a pot once upon a time. Yeah, he also, you note, with a 12, he has a walking cane, a beautifully and intricately carved walking cane that seems to be a descendant from his grandfather or something. Way too young to need it in terms of like age, and he doesn't seem to have any injury. However, he seems to be so frequently so drunk that he has a walking cane to walk upright when he gets to that point of alcoholism. And yeah, he's quite a portly fellow.
Yeah. I sort of lean over, like completely sort of unattached to this person who's sort of, poke shoulder, try to see what it's like, and sort of, filthy bait.
Oh my god, because you thought it was a child. No. Okay, it's a halfling. And he's like, does he even take rejection? Oh, well, if you don't want to talk to me, I'll talk to someone else. But if you ever need to know anything about agriculture or farms or have a nice drink or maybe you sleep with me, I would love to talk to you more about that later. And then he just like wanders off, stumbles off as you're responding.
That's
if
my
you respond.
goodness.
It's like, yeah, yes. If only all of them would leave that quickly.
All right. What are you two doing?
Mr. Chef, I can't remember your name, I'm really sorry, but Chef. We would like to, I kind of puff myself up a bit to look intimidating, because all I know is intimidation. And I say, we believe that the rats are mystical.
Right. You bring me bags of them, I'll give you coin.
I look over at Rusty and I'm like,
Have you got a bag?
Aye, there's some...
Do you want them in one piece or as much? Or it doesn't make a difference to you?
I don't give a shite as long as they're dead. They've been plaguing the whole city.
Okay. Deal. Down the basement, I'm told.
Aye. There's sacks down there.
Beautiful. Thank you, sir. We shall see you soon. Get your copper ready.
As I said, if you find anything good, if they're bigger than the little one, give you more. Let's say
A gold piece if they're a real troublemaker. But if it's even more, talk to the tavern keep.
No.
And if it's even worse, talk to the mayor. Make some good contacts killing rats. We used to have a guy who dealt with the rats a long time ago.
Perhaps I'm out of touch. You know, when people become so wealthy, they forget the price of bread. I had gone on such grand tales that sometimes you forget that it always begins with rats. After all, there are different kinds of rats down there. Let's go find out what we can get, shall we?
Yes. Thank you.
All right, you'd like to head into the cellar?
Yes.
Cool.
Finally, something.
So you head downstairs. You're directed quickly by the tavern keeper. He's like, go downstairs and deal with the rats. He doesn't care. And you walk down the spiral staircase, and there's a few doors leading off left and right, but you've been directed to just head to the rest of the corridor. That's where there seems to be a problem. And you head down, and as you can see, enter a corridor where there is a lot of furniture and mostly broken furniture, like people in the bar who've gotten in rowdy fights and stuff, and they've just chucked it down here. There's a few empty-looking barrels and shelves, and a little sound of scratching down here.
Can I use my keen sense of smell to see if I can smell the rats where they're coming from?
Make a wisdom perception check with advantage.
That was a 12, and 11 to the 12 plus perception is 0, so it was 12.
There's a lot of mixed scents in this room, a lot of food's being kept down there, drink, but you can smell some faint ratty scents, but you don't get a pinpoint on how many or where.
Sure. Okay.
But you do spot a little bit of movement off in the corner.
Okay. They're down here somewhere. I could definitely smell them. I'm going to keep moving in
Alright.
a bit further.
I'm going to walk up, sort of brush past Hops and say, let me deal with this.
Brush past. So you're heading to the front?
Yep.
Okay.
I'm going to click at the corner and demandingly speak with animals.
Oh, you cast Speak with Animals. Okay.
And say,
You lot, come out right now.
A single rat climbs up onto a table and looks at you.
One, I was hoping for more, but you'll do. Who do you report to?
The music.
The music. I was expecting the name of some... I know... Underlord? A witch, maybe?
In unison from all the corners of the room, buried under, just, you know, they're through the walls, and then you hear this chorus of mice voices speaking. You guys just hear squeaks, but you hear this chorus of mice. The music, all in unison.
Now we're getting somewhere. All right. So, good news.
Are we hearing her talk?
Talk
or is
to, she's just talking. Oh no, she's squeaking in rat noises too. Yeah.
I'm just sort of spun delightedly at Tuesday.
Right. I have some good news. There is a mastermind after all.
Ooh, great.
And what is that? It is,
Do you wander sort of into the room because the rat's on the table here?
Yeah. I'll sort of stalk into the room like I'm, you know, explaining to, you know, some very simple people. You know, I used to trick children into my houses, so, you know, it sort of equates. It's like,
Now, all the rats seem to be responding to music. Probably some sort of enchantment, I'd say. I do not know the identity of this, shall we say, minstrel. However, I think if we can convince the rats to take us to their benefactor, then we can cut through a lot of this meaningless nonsense.
yes, I'd like to cut through the nonsense.
And I too push past Hops and say,
Yes, rats, take us to your leader.
The rats that you're talking to, the one that's sort of and looking at you, says, "You want to take you to music?"
Yes, we would love to hear about this music more.
its head sort of twitches towards you, and then its eyes suddenly start glowing red, and then it just says, without the same hesitance or insecurity in its rat voice, with far more malign intelligence behind it, it looks at you and it says,
No, I don't think so.
and then you just hear this chorus of mice screeching and rats screeching as they just pour from every single corner of the room, from under furniture, from cracks in walls, and just whoosh, just swarm into the room and cascade towards you, gnawing and chittering and looking with violent intent as they swarm up in the center of the room in a mound, this heaving mass of rats that are sort of pushed by an intelligence that is superseding theirs and forcing them to act.
I sort of stand there watching and grinning. Oh, I've struck a nerve, it seems.
And then we'll roll initiative.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
And you've got advantage on initiative, Monster Hunter Ranger.
Oh, yeah. So that was 11, and it's just a D20,
yes.
and
yep.
it's a
And
total.
you-
It's no
Plus your
advantage.
dexterity.
Oh, dex. Okay, so it was plus 6.
Plus 4 for you.
Okay, so it was 11 plus 4 for me.
Yeah, it's not plus
So-
6. It's just your dex mod, which is plus 4.
Oh, okay.
That's your dexterity saving throw.
Oh, okay.
This
okay,
is
okay.
initiative.
Yeah.
It's
So
right there.
15.
Plus 4 with advantage.
got
Did you
15.
roll twice?
Yes.
Yes,
Okay, so you got
15
15.
total.
I got a 4.
Okay.
So, just because, I'm the closest, I've got, the least time to react, so I will be going last.
What'd you get?
I rolled a 1.
Yosh.
Are you a meanie poo with ones or a nicey poo with
So
20s?
this game, at my home game, I have my homebrew rules, but in this game we're playing standard D&D, so we're going to just be a 1 is just your last.
Okay.
So they have no initiative modifier. So what did we get? Sorry, we got a 15.
Yep.
Rusty 15.
4 for Hops.
And a 1.
Oof. Morena. And who knows what the rat swarm got. But we won't find out in this episode. You're going to have to wait till next week.
Yay, that was so fun.
I hope you've enjoyed the first part of our D&D adventure.
Yay!
I can't wait till next week. Do you know, I just don't know how I can guarantee to get informed about when the next episode comes up. If only there was some sort of button I could press. Is
No,
there?
nothing.
No.
Got nothing.
Shit! Crap!
Poop.
Can't be done.
But,
well.
all right, well, if you happen to be around on this viewing platform at this time next week, hopefully you'll see a recommendation of part 2.
Yeah. I love that we got to just basically play a whole session in the Loot Tavern.
Oh, it's
Awesome.
look, honestly, I want to do more of this.
And you didn't-
It's hard to pull together, but man, this is satisfying for me. But I hope that the viewers are having as much fun as we are.
I'm such a sucker for tropes when introducing new people to the thing. So I'm
Yeah.
like, Jazz has not really played a D&D campaign, so I really want to just give you a trope
Yeah.
to start with
Yeah,
and
I
make
love
it fun.
Yeah,
We'll
I
see.
love it too. And I love that because I know enough about D&D and the
Yeah.
tropes, but my hero is so done with adventurous. So it's it was a really fun way to play that off.
But how cool, how good and refreshing does the simplest trope look? in
Oh
this
my
format?
gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, we're fighting rats, how boring are they? Look at this!
It's so cool.
Yeah, and look, honestly, okay, so this gameplay is not sponsored by Loot by any means, but obviously the video on the main Tabletop channel where we painted it all up was, and it really does, I think this video showcases how much it brings your playing to life, and it's just such a privilege and so much fun to play with these minis. And well done
awesome.
with the paint jobs, everyone.
Hey!
All right, we should move forward into the next chapter. We'll see you all next
See
week.
you next week.
Bye.